Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. ZAMFARA people lament escalation of foodstuff prices. Southern Kaduna Miyatta Allah resolves to make peace with neighbors, vows to expose criminals. NLC president accuses Wike of planning to attack Rivers workers. On business, federal governments, states, local governments shares 676.407 billion naira for July. And on the international scene, President Buhari attends ECOWAS summit in Niger Republic. Now the news in details. The rate at which prices of foodstuffs continue to escalate in the country is now attracting serious attention, while also noting that the federal government has failed to establish well-coordinated price control agency to regulate prices of foodstuffs in the country. An intensive investigation by Vanguard correspondent revealed that a bag of foreign rice in Zamfara state is now being sold at the price of 29,000 naira, while the same bag is being sold at the price of 30,000 naira in Sokoto state. According to a trader operating at Tudunwada market, the market behavior has totally changed considering the increase of foodstuffs in Zamfara state. It is very obvious that Zamfara state is a rural state where almost everybody in the state depends entirely on the state government for survival. Many people interviewed by this reporter explained that the federal government should be blamed for what they describe as lack of care for the people that voted President Muhammadu Buhari to power. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadiya Umar Farooq, has said that the federal government is to commence the massive airdrops of relief materials to dangerous and inaccessible areas of Borno State. The minister, who was in Maiduguri at the weekend to deliver relief materials to the state, told the Borno State Deputy Governor, Alhaji Umar Kadafur, who represented the governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, that they noted and are aware that due to the recent restriction of movement to curtail the COVID-19 pandemic and inaccessibility of communities due to the floods and insecurity, vulnerable persons, especially the IDPs, may require further support in terms of basic necessities, including food from the federal government of Nigeria. To ensure that they are able to provide adequate support, the minister wished to request that the state government provide the necessary information required to enable collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force to drop food and non-food items at locations that have been made inaccessible due to the insecurity and recent floods. The minister disclosed that the federal government was donating to the vulnerable people in Borno State 26,067 bags of 12.5 kg parboiled rice, 26,067 bags of 25 kg beans, 26,067 bags of 12.5 kg maize and millet, 1,304 bags of 20 kg iodized salt, 2,607 kegs of vegetable oils, 4,345 cartons of seasoning cubes, 2,173 cartons of tinned tomato. Extreme levels of rainfall have been felt in Gondu local government area of Kebbi states for the past 12 hours. The incident took place late Saturday night in the early hours of Sunday morning when newsmen spoke to Sarajo Aliyu Yakaligo, a young man. Mr. Sarajo reveals that at least 50 people have lost their living quarters and properties where they currently live in public primary schools. So far, we have not been able to talk to the chairman of the local government area to find out what kind of rehabilitation assistance the government will provide to the people affected. In 2012, Governor Saidu Nasamu Aikengari constructed a concrete slab called Bingi in Yalango village, also to protect the water from entering the town. In a related development, a heavy downpour in GUMMI local government area of Zamfara state has rendered huge number of residents homeless. An eyewitness and a resident of GUMMI said the heavy downfall started on Saturday night and lasted for several hours, that submerged and razed down a number of houses, leaving the residents taking shelter in the neighborhood and public buildings. According to our sources, several buildings were collapsed while properties worth millions of naira are destroyed, including foodstuffs, animal and other valuable materials. The eyewitness further confirmed that the Gayari Bridge, which links Bardo Kigari and a number of communities, were submerged and prevented people from crossing the bridge. When contacted, the Special Advisor, Director of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, ZAMFARA Muhammad, said they were already in GUMMI to assess the situation and will release solid information later after the assessment visit. The Kaduna State Chapter of Miyatta Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, says it has resolved to bury its differences with other tribes and work towards return of peace in southern part of the state. MACBAN said this in a communique at the end of a peace summit in Kafanchan on Sunday. The communique was jointly signed by the state chairman of the association, Hassan Tugga, Southern Kaduna Zonal Chairman Abdul Hamid Musa, Zonal Secretary Shuaibu Usman, and Director of Media and Publicity Ibrahim Zango. The FCT Minister Mohammed Bello has urged the Federal Road Safety Co. (FRSC) to address traffic congestion which occurs at the Luke Bay access along the airport road, especially in the evening. Anthony Oguleye, spokesman to the FCT Minister, in a statement on Sunday in Abuja, said Mr. Bello made the pledge when he received a delegation from the FRSC, led by the new Zone 7 Area Commander, Assistant Co-Marshal Jonas Agu. The minister noted that the airport road is the gateway into the city and should at all times reflect orderliness. He assured that the FCTA will support and partner with the FRSC for the effective use of mobile court system to correct traffic offenders. The minister stressed the need for the Corps to deploy more men and equipment to ensure enforcement of road safety laws on the roads. For allegedly converting 12 Peugeot 508 vehicles belonging to the National Assembly Service Commission for private use and going away with them, former National Assembly Service Commission Chairman Alhaji Adamu Fika and all immediate past commissioners who serve with the National Assembly Service Commission have been indicted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). As a result, the EFCC has ordered that the vehicles be immediately returned, while the indicted commissioners are to face prosecution for alleged conspiracy and criminal conversion of public property. The EFCC said it relied on Section 38, subsection 1 of the EFCC Establishment Act 2004 and Section 21 of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 as amended. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), Ayuba Wabba, has accused the governor of Rivers State, Nelson Wike, of plotting a violent attack against workers who are planning to hold a rally in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. There is an industrial dispute between the Rivers government and the state chapter of the NLC, which has led to the sealing of the NLC secretariat in Port Harcourt. The NLC president, Mr. Wabba, who is stepping into the dispute to show solidarity with the Rivers workers, said in a statement on Saturday that Mr. Wike is planning to disrupt the workers' rally scheduled to take place on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the NLC president said they received very credible information that the Rivers State Governor, Mr. Nelson Wike, has mobilized 2 local government councils around Port Harcourt metropolis to engage armed talks under the guise of putting up a counter-protest to the workers' protest built for Tuesday, September 8, 2020 in Port Harcourt. The plan is to unleash violence on workers during their protest. The NLC president said the dispute between the state government and the Rivers workers centers on non-payment of salary arrears to the workers, especially teachers and healthcare workers, the non-payment of promotion arrears since 2015, the non-payment of pension and gratuity to retired workers since 2015, as well as negotiation for consequential wages adjustment arising from the new national minimum wage. Newsmen could not immediately get a reaction from the Rivers government as the Commissioner for Information in the state, Paulinus Nsirim, did not respond to calls and text messages. The Enugu state government plans to spend the sum of 210 million naira in the refurbishment of toilet facilities at the international wing of the reconstructed Akanu Ibiam Airport, AIIA, Enugu. This was disclosed to newsmen during a media briefing held weekend in Enugu by the Southeast Governors Forum Committee on the Airport Rehabilitation Palliative Works, which said the present state of the toilet is embarrassing to the airport. African Examiner reports that some residents of the state who spoke to newsmen under condition of anonymity on the said amount described it as highly outrageous. It could be recalled that the reconstructed AIIA was officially reopened by Nigeria's Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sereka, last Sunday after 370 days of its closure, 24th of August 2019 to be precise. The federal government says it spent 30.5 billion naira on efforts to curtail COVID-19 between April and July this year. The Accountant General of the Federation, Alhaji Ahmed Idris, who disclosed this, said the amount represented 84% of the 36.3 billion naira public funds and donations received by the federal government to tackle the pandemic. He said there was a balance of 5.9 billion naira. Alhaji Idris said this in response to a Freedom of Information request jointly made by Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project and Connected Development. SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawale Oludare, said in a statement on Sunday that Idris, in his undated response, also indicated that the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 spent 22 billion naira, while 36 states spent 7 billion naira on COVID-19. On business, over to Aguirita.
Welcome to the Voice Business Update. The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FASA, approved the disbursement of 266.407 billion for July 2020 to the federal, state and local government council, as well as relevant agencies in the country. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, Mohamed Issa Duse, disclosed this during the virtual FAAC meeting for August, according to a communique shared on Sunday. He said a gross revenue of 543.788 billion naira was received for July 2020. This was higher than the 524.526 billion naira received in the previous month by 19.262 billion naira. The gross revenue available from the value-added tax VAT was 132.619 billion naira, as against 128.826 billion naira valuable in the preceding month, resulting in an increase of 3.793 billion naira. According to the communique, from total distributable revenue of 676.407 billion naira, the federal government received 273.189 billion naira. The state government received 190.849 billion naira, and the local government council received 142.761 billion naira. Also, the oil-producing state received 42.851 billion naira as 13% division revenue, while two sub-head costs of collection and transfer to relevant agency had allocation of 26.757 billion naira. And that's the Voice Business Update. I'm Aguirita.
And on the international scene, President Muhammadu Buhari will depart Abuja Monday for Niamey, Niger Republic, to participate in the 57th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. The one-day summit will deliberate on the special report on COVID-19 to be presented by President Muhammadu Buhari, who was appointed the ECOWAS champion on the fight against COVID-19 during the extraordinary virtual summit of ECOWAS on April 23, 2020. As a champion, the Nigerian leader was expected to coordinate the sub-regional response against the pandemic. In furtherance to that objective, under the supervision of the champion, Nigerian Ministers of Health, Aviation and Finance were appointed chairpersons of the Ministerial Coordination Committees on Health, Transport, Logistics and Trade, and Finance respectively. Still on the international scene, President Donald Trump has demanded UK ambassador to leave US after leaked cables showed the diplomat criticizing him. The president was not happy after Kim Darroch labeled him incompetent and inept in a secret memo. Mr. Trump ordered that Kim Darroch be made to leave Washington. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara people lament escalation of foodstuff prices. Southern Kaduna Miyatta Allah resolves to make peace with neighbors, vows to expose criminals. NLC president accuses Wike of planning to attack Rivers workers. On business, federal governments, states, local governments shares 676.407 billion naira for July. And on the international scene, President Buhari attends ECOWAS summit in Niger Republic. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.